Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Kesubos, Parak Gimel, chapter 13, Mishnah Yud, Mishnah 10. Shalosh Aratzes L'Nasuin. There are three areas, three regions that Eretz Yisrael is divided into regarding marriage. Yehuda, the section of Yehuda, Judea, which they say is the south. Ve'eva HaYarden, the east side of the Jordan River. Vahagalil, and the Galilee, which is the north. All right. Now, what that means here is that by saying that we have three regions, it means to say that if, let's say, a man and a woman are from Yehuda, and the man wants to move to the Galil, he can't make her go. By saying there are three separate regions, we are saying that a man may not force his wife to relocate from one area to the other. Now again, they're both from the same area. They married in the area, and now he wants to relocate, and she doesn't. So by saying the Mishnah's point of saying there are three regions means to say he cannot force her to relocate. And his choice is either to stay put or to divorce her, but give her a ksuba. Okay, so so that's the first part of the Mishnah saying. Now, there are two other things that we have to mention about this part of the Mishnah. Number one, read here from notes number 1. The Mishnah mentions only the regions of Eretz Yisrael, but the same law applies elsewhere. Any area separated from another by language and government is considered a different region, and a wife may refuse to move there. Okay, now, what is the reason why he may not force her to move there? Like, what's the issue? The answer is, again, that's I'll read here from the explanation. A husband may not force his wife to move with him from one region to another because travel between these regions were difficult and infrequent, and she would not be able to go back and see her family often. So that is her right. That is something that she has a right to be able to see her family often enough, and therefore you may not force her to relocate. And apparently, the way we just read from the notes here is that, and again, it says any area separated from another by language and government is considered a different region. Now, again, I would guess, and assuming that also this difference between the regions causes infrequent travel, difficulty to travel, as we say here. And because that's the whole point of why he can't force her. Now, another thing that's important to know is that this halacha that he cannot force her to move from one region to another is, as I said before, where the case is they're both originally from that same region. But let's say a man from Judea goes to the Galil and he marries a woman from the Galil. He's from one region, she's from another region. There, the assumption is that he's going to want to move back. There, you have to assume that. And therefore, she can't say, I'm not going. And expect, and if he divorces her, he wouldn't have to give her a ksuba. Because where he is from a different place, there the expectation is he's going to move back. He's going to want to move back. And you married him with that understanding. And therefore, in that situation, he could force her to move to a different region or divorce her and not have to give her a ksuba. Now, Mishnah continues. Okay. Ein moitzian me'ir le'ir u'mikrach le'krach. A person cannot force his wife, again, if we're talking about, we're kind of elaborating because of what we're going to say further, that elaborating on this idea, you can't make her move from one region to another. That includes, ein moitzian me'ir le'ir mikrach le'krach. You cannot make her go from one town to another town or from one large city to another large city. Okay, then we say that you can't force her to move from one region to another region. That even means that even if you're moving her to a similar place of where they're living, where they're from now, where she's from now, nonetheless, it's a different region, so we say you can't force her. But let's say you're talking about in the same region. There you could make her move from city to city, or from town to town, or from large city to large city. It's in the same region. It's the same type of city that she's used to. So we say that she has to go with him. but he cannot make her even go in the same region from a town to a large city, from a large city to a town. What's the difference? So I'll read to you here from in the notes from the Rav. After living in a small town where houses are near gardens and orchards, there is plenty of fresh air. It is hard for a woman to adjust to life in a city where the houses are crammed together and fresh air is lacking. Urban. There already in times of Mishnah, you had the difference between urban and rural, so to speak. Conversely, it is hard for a woman to adjust to small town life if she's used to living in a large city where all things are available for sale. In a large city, that's where all the business happens. Therefore, every time she wants something, she can go. Anytime you want, you go up, buy yourself a bottle of milk, yourself a piece of pizza. Those are all present in the large cities, right? In the small cities, they're not present. So even though there is, so the point is there's an advantage of a large city, and that is what she is used to, then you can't force her out of it. So either way has its advantages, and that is what she's used to, you cannot force her out, even though it's in the same region. Okay? That's what he's saying. But even in the same region, not from a town to a large city, or from a large city to a town. Next. One can make her move from a bad residence to a good residence. What's a bad residence? That's an area where food is scarce and expensive. A good residence is a place where food is plentiful and inexpensive. So the point here is that even in a situation where we say, he can make her move, it's the same region, it's the same big city to big city or small town to small town. You can only make her move from a bad residence to a good residence. But not from a good residence to a bad residence. That already is making her, she's losing out on the benefits of the good residence. So even though from the point of the town or from the city, it's the same type of city, nonetheless, if we're talking about an area where food is scarce and expensive to a better place, that you can make her go, but vice versa not. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, you may not even force her to go from a bad residence to a good residence. Why? Because a good residence can test a person's health if they are not used to it. And what that means is, they explain here from the Meiri, when someone moves to a good neighborhood, he begins to eat rich foods to which he was not previously accustomed, and can consequently suffer digestive problems. So even though you're going to a better place, sometimes you get so used to the bad conditions that changing to the better conditions are gonna make problems with your health. And therefore, Mishna Gamliel can say that if she says, I'm not moving even from a bad residence to a good residence, he can't force her because she has a claim. Because moving from a bad residence even to a good residence can have an effect on her health. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Okay, so you